Today with us we have prominent guest from Samsung, Mr. Praveen GS, Senior Director at Samsung Research. To start with your personal journey.
Yeah, so I was born and brought up in Chittoor. It is a very small town in Andhra Pradesh. I think you can relate it to Tirupati. It is 60 kilometers from Tirupati, which is very famous for Lord Venkateshwara temple. In 2005, I joined Samsung.
Working in Samsung, it's a big company and heading a department of 200 people. Is it challenging?
It is definitely very challenging and demanding. The reason is you need to constantly disrupt yourself and bring innovation so that it can be part of our product.
So what was your success mantra?
So one thing which we already discussed about the curiosity, learning, speed of execution and collaboration, all these things we covered. Once you create that impact, that will chase your career growth, that will chase your titles.
Welcome to another chapter of Built on Brains. Today with us we have prominent guest from Samsung, Mr. Praveen GS, Senior Director at Samsung Research. And his entire work is into AI and voice. We'll be learning a lot of things from him, and maybe we'll also come to know how the AI is going to transform our lives in future in mobile itself. So I welcome you, Mr. Praveen.
Thanks for having me, first of all. And I'm really excited to be a part of Built on Brains. I would like to share my perspectives both on my personal, professional leadership and also what am I doing in Samsung Research, which creates a huge impact to the world, how humans and device interactions happen based on the technologies we are developing in the back end.
We'll start with your personal journey actually. So I would like to know more about you.
Yeah, so I was born and brought up in Chittoor. It is a very small town in Andhra Pradesh. I think you can relate it to Tirupati. It is 60 kilometers from Tirupati, which is very famous for Lord Venkateshwara temple located there. My entire education happened in Chittoor until my engineering. So I was very bright in the studies from my earlier days, and more than that, what I do is I was always curious about and try new things. Even for my age, the curiosity was much more higher for that age, especially when I remember one instance when I was in fourth grade, I believe. Right. So in the marriage ceremonies, right, there was a lot of lightings which we used to keep, right? We used to call it as a series of lights, right? The decorative lights which happens. So I was very curious, how does it work? Okay. So then the next day when it happened, right, at my home, I bought a series of lights, and I directly connected in my plug. So first of all, it was a mishap and it got burnt. The lights got burnt. I was even got electric shock.
Oh my God.
So the curiosity as a child was always growing in me. Then that's where I was trying to pitch in and trying to figure out things when it is not working, and I used to question why even it was working. So even in some cases, I want to share some specific examples. When we used to have landlines, it sometimes because of rains and all, it never used to work, right? So I used to troubleshoot even though I didn't know that how it fully works, right? The curiosity was always there. So even in my professional life, I keep that curiosity always on to discover new things. Now compared to when I was a kid and right now, even though I have curiosity, I deeply study. So that's a change. That's a change. So that's about me. Then My first company I joined was HCL
That's it.
Technologies.
Okay.
So where I built my career, I was working in Noida.
Okay.
Then I joined Samsung Research Bangalore. So from there, the journey started. Right now, I'm here.
That's great. Great to know about your journey and about your curiosity as well. Interestingly, the way you have rised in your profession, it also reflects that there is a lot of support that is unsaid from your family also. That is what I assume. So, upbringing from your parents, was it something different from others? Would you like to share on that, because this is not a common journey that anyone has?
Yes. So majority of my leadership is based on the fact which I got from the family values. My father used to be a central figure commanding almost 20 villages at that
Okay,
time.
okay, okay,
He
okay,
was not a political person,
okay.
but people used to respect him
Mhm.
because of the help and the decision making capabilities. So one of the instance I want to share was when I was very young age, around some fifth class or sixth grade,
Mhm.
right? So there was one incident happened at my village.
Mhm.
There was one thief,
Okay.
okay, who got caught
Uh-huh.
because he was stealing the coconut. Okay, so the villagers caught him and brought him to my father
Okay.
to take a decisions. At that time, there was nothing like a police or judge, right? So it used to be getting resolved in the local community
Right.
itself. So that was one of the inspiration where I draw this leadership when I used to deeply observe my father.
Mhm.
So the judgment what he gave right at that time was people were very demanding. He has to be punished. He has to be out of the village like that
Right,
without
right,
too much rational thinking.
okay.
And when my father asked him, "Why did you steal?" He has his own reasons of the difficulties he is facing, etc., etc. Right? And I mean, my father also cannot excuse him
Mhm.
because everybody can tomorrow become a thief and give excuses.
Right.
So the decision he took at that time was really, really like what do you say, motivating and inspired me.
Mhm.
So how do you balance a decision, right?
Mhm.
So what he told was, okay, so you stole 20 coconuts around that. So for each coconut, you need to pay some 2 rupees or 5 rupees, some
Okay,
odd
some
amount.
amount.
At that
Okay.
time, it was big,
Okay.
right? Multiplied by 20,
Okay.
so maybe 100 rupees
100.
around, right? So that money, don't give it to the person whom you actually stole from, right? So drop it in temple hundi.
Okay.
Okay. So what happened here was, if you see, right, the thief, he gave excuses and he also got punished, and also he is trying to donate it to the temple because he gets excused from the god,
Correct.
right?
Okay.
And there are other villagers, everybody also was there who wants him to get punished, right? So and they are also happy because he is getting punished,
Right.
but everybody is happy, right?
Everybody
Even though it's a very tough call, he is able to navigate by keeping everybody happy, right? So that kind of things where where I observed very keenly on these kind of decisions really inspired me to be on the leadership role, where sometimes very tough decisions has to be taken, definitely for the business or for anything, right? But how do you keep the collateral damage as much as less minimal, right? So that's where. So
interesting story actually, because our entire persona is shaped during our childhood. That reflects when we are at the mid age, I guess.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing. Was there anything that went unexpectedly against your expectation, but it worked out well for you?
So what happened was when I joined Samsung, I was in a very, I was curious always, as I was telling. And 2005, I joined. In the year 2012, I grown in the multimedia. I had a very good role, good impact of work where I can showcase to the world, and deep domain expertise. And I had a team of almost close to 25-30 people where we are able to deliver a lot of products, etc. So at that point of time, I was on a holiday. I got a call from our top leadership. His name is Deepesh Shah.
Okay.
He's my guru also. Okay, so he told that, so what you have done for multimedia is great and the impact is very high. You are the biggest bet for us, all good things. Suddenly he said that, so now you need to start a new team,
Okay.
especially on AI,
Okay.
where we are first time starting that kind of team. So you need to lead that team. But the team size, including you, is 3. Okay. So
Okay.
now
Okay.
it is, I need to decide, right? There is a comfortable role which is existing and it's doing well, everything, right? So I know how I'm going to grow, I'm going to impact, how the team size will grow, etc. Right? The other side, there is a new opportunity given. This is an uncomfortable bet, right? So I need to deep dive myself, introspect. And one thing is, I believe in the Samsung ecosystem. They will never let you fail.
Okay.
So there is a huge system support to make you succeed.
Okay.
Even if things are not converging, they'll find alternate, etc. So I have the trust in the system. Second thing was, I myself, for my career growth, I need to take this call. So I have went more deeper into the industry trends, etc., and figured out the A is the next thing which is going to happen. So then I accepted that role. So we started with that 3 people. Now we are close to 200 people I'm leading. And there is a series of challenges we faced when we started with 3 people to now 200 people. Expanded the technologies. We went through a lot of AI trends and products. We are able to create good impact. So that uncomfortable bet which I have taken, maybe that is one of the prime reason for my exponential growth also.
Okay.
So it's a big risk and there is a big reward.
Working in Samsung, it's a big company and heading a department of 200 people. Is it challenging? As you said that it is Samsung supports you well, but still it's a big responsibility that you're taking. So how challenging the role is and how challenging it is to keep aligned your work with the company's vision.
Sure. So it is, I would put it in 2 aspects. One is, it is definitely very challenging and demanding. The reason is you need to constantly disrupt yourself and bring innovation so that it can be part of our products, which impacts our users, right? In terms of productivity or whatever they want to do, right? So that's the demanding and challenging part. Rewarding is because ultimately whatever your ideas, right, you are quickly able to prototype it, take it into product, and when it is in the user's hand, and you know that you are able to change the world, right? It is so rewarding. There is a lot of fulfillment comes up with that kind of experience, right? So that's how I want to sum it up.
Yeah, because Samsung has so huge user base, and you'll be able to see what you have done immediately in the hands of the people.
Yes, that's correct. That's
so
correct.
that's one of the great feeling that anyone can have as an innovator. So when you start innovation, or do you decide upon something that you need to innovate? Is there any strategy that you follow, or it's like following the trend? Or how do you define that we have to do something that is new, which is not there already?
Yeah, very interesting question. So from my side, what I do is couple of things. One of the thing is out of lot of hustle bustle which is happening in your professional life, right? So first thing is you need to calm down.
Okay.
And figure out what needs to be done, right? So for that, one of the methodology I follow is I create myself a focus time. my focus time. So every Thursday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. you can't reach me.
Okay.
I'll switch off my mobile, everything. I focus only on the study part. Okay.
Okay.
The study includes industry trends, what's happening, the technology trends, what's happening, and the third thing is the cross technology, right? Sometimes if you focus only on your technology, if you miss to reach the different technologies, right? So there can be many possibilities where you can borrow some of the aspects of that technology to your domain expertise. Or also, I personally believe that the majority of the time the innovation happens at the intersection.
Okay.
Right? When two technologies getting converged, the innovation can happen. Right? These some of the 4 things I follow.
Okay.
So when we read this and try to marry the industry trends and experience trends with this technology trends, so there we can derive a new user experience which can come into our products, which brings value to our ecosystem and also impact our users, right? So once this framework is ready, right, now how do you convert which is in a PPT form or in a paper form to a quick execution, right? Whatever you see, whatever you just read, it is just in the mind, it's a PPT, right? So we invest in early prototypes of it so that you can actually feel that product, how it can really impact and how it can give a great value to our users, right? And what it will do is it also helps in convincing our top leadership, right? So if you just present the idea, this is how it's going, so it's okay, that's fine. I mean, it may be impacting them on 20%, right? Now you present the idea and present a prototype. Okay, this is how it works, right? The impact for them in absorbing and believing in the concept is much higher. It may be close to 70%, 80%, right? Then ultimately you need to bridge that 30-40%, that how it can be done into a product, etc. So this is how I channelize my energy. And all these things, the toughest thing what I figured out was in industry or the technology, etc., right, there is a lot of signal or noise, right? So capturing only that signal by deep reading and removing that noise, it will create a lot of optimization and productivity where you have to focus, not to get distracted by that noise. Yeah.
So good to know about the focus time that you give to yourself. I think so that is one thing that everyone should follow, I guess, because that is one thing I see the difference where many people are not able to give the 100% focus on learning. And maybe even I'm not able to give because of the chaos that we have in the offices, and it becomes tough. So thanks for that. So definitely this would be a good thing to implement. When you have a team of 200 people, you started with 3 people, now it has grown to 300 people. So there are 2 things that I just wanted to ask. How do you choose a team member, first thing, and how do you keep them motivated?
Okay, so it's a great question if you ask me. Some of the criteria I follow is most importantly, like I used to have as a DNA, how much curious they are. Okay. And the second thing is how they are adaptable for the technology trends which are changing, right? Which means your learning abilities has to be very quick. You should be observant and change according to that trends. Third thing is, so I always personally believe that there is only not one person can create everything, right? It is a great collaboration between the teams. So that actually is that when you are an engineer versus when you are an employee, right? The main difference is how effectively you can collaborate, right? So that is the other thing I look into it. And the last one, which is also very important from my side, is how is his values and integrity in terms of tough situations, right? What does he do, right?
Okay.
So these are the four things where when I'm choosing some team to grow, this will be a basic criteria,
Okay.
apart from the domain knowledge which comes in general, right? But these are the things which is my checklist.
So, additional question, that values and integrities that you mentioned, it's very difficult to gauge a person in the small round of interviews. So, do you have any mechanism for that, or it's your gut feeling that you follow?
So even I think one thing is that it comes from strong referrals based on the previous. If you are recruiting, normally you go referrals also.
Right.
I'm talking about some senior
Senior
positions,
positions.
right? The other way to gauge in a very tough situation is like in a short span of time, how do you gauge that integrity and values you are able to assess, right? So one of the thing what I feel is when you are putting a person in a tough spot and asking for some of the solutions, right? Some, it may not be technical, even it can be non-technical, right? So there how he is behaving, right? So that tells the integrity and values. So one of the situation I'll explain you so that you can understand. So one person, he was not my team member, so he was from different team, right? So in one of the business trip I met him. So where he was talking about, they went for some team outing in outside India. I'm talking, right? So there he was doing the skiing, and accidentally he had injured some other ex person.
Okay.
Right. That ex person escalated it to the authorities. Okay. Now, and they don't know this guy actually, right? So one of the easiest thing he can do is he can walk out, right? He can just claim that I didn't do anything. Correct. It's a skiing, just accident happened, etc. like that. But this person stood by there, right? He took her to the hospital and also directly interacted with the authorities and explaining the case, how it happened, etc. Right? So you all can always watch for that kind of person, right? When there is a difficult situation surrounding you in a foreign country, whether he is able to stand on his ground, the values what our Indian ecosystem teaches, right? So helping,
right?
Most important. So if you convert that helping in a team level, it's more of a collaboration. When the other person is facing a tough situation, right? Are you laughing at him, or you are becoming a solution?
Correct. In the problematic situation.
In the problematic solution, right? So that's the difference, right? So if you take this instance, what I was explaining in the real life versus in that interviews, right? When you gauge it, right? So if your team member gets stuck, right? What is your view, right? And he is your competitor. Many times you compete also while collaborating, right? How do you drive the project? So people will tell their view. From there, you can easily gauge whether he's trying to pretend for the interview or he's actually following the values. For him, the product is first, right? The credit business is the next. Don't worry about it. The system will take care of it. People are observant on you and they'll take care of you. Right. So I felt as of now I'm able to succeed with that kind of interviews.
Because people, the team is the one that makes the company successful actually, and R&D is the backbone of companies like Samsung, because that is the reason they have been so innovative and so aggressive and being in the top position. So. If because working in Samsung is also a dream for many people actually. So are there any advantages of working, or is it tough to get into Samsung ecosystem as an employee? So can you just throw something to the young generation who wants to work with companies like Samsung?
Yeah, so couple of things. So how the recruitment happens in Samsung is like this. So if you're college pass out, majority of our recruitment happens directly from the campuses. Okay, so but if you are a lateral hire, we take them as domain experts. So here also my recommendation is instead of just connecting the shallow elements of technology, go more deeper into the technology, understand the technology, how it works, right? From ground zero, right? And not just that, right? Now if I want to connect this deep tech in a system integration, right, and the ecosystem, right, how it actually impacts the peripherals of it, so you should be able to explain. So if you are able to convince this, right, and if you have that conviction, you can easily get into Samsung, and you can be part of our family.
Thank you for that inputs. Actually, this may help a lot of aspiring people who want to work with Samsung. So great. So now coming back to AI, actually, the domain expertise that you have. There is a lot of buzz going around AI. People are also scared. People are also using it. How do you see as if now the scenario with AI, what exactly it is capable of doing? Is AI capable of taking away the jobs, or is it going to do something? So, in general, what is your perspective on this?
My view here is, first of all, you should not get scared.
Okay.
My view here is like you should not get scared. One thing is for sure, if you are not having a knowledge of AI or not using AI, definitely your job is going. Okay. So it's like this. If you go back and see, so 20 years back, right? So if you are having hesitancy to use the internet, okay, so there is no world progress would have happened, right? So and internet has a lot of good things and bad things, right? How effectively you are using the good things, right? That actually progress the world, right? So from internet we went into smartphones, from there to apps, now AI, now voice assistants, and also multimodal assistants. So it's going on, right? So start using AI as your friend, teacher, and if you are outside the technology purview, if you are inside the technology, understand the AI and generative AI more deeper, right? How it can create impact for your domain to expand to the next level and start applying for the products.
Okay, great. So AI, like in earlier 2000, you mentioned internet. Before that, it was computers. Earlier, people were using typewriters. Then computers came in, and now we all are using computers. So that is how it is going to happen.
Sure.
Okay, great. So AI is evolving so fast. Even the mobiles that are being sold by Samsung right now, many people don't know their capabilities. Also, they buy it. So, what are the recent capabilities that have been launched that are more unique that you want to share with, if it is in public domain?
Yeah, sure. So definitely. So one of the thing we constantly strive when we say innovation, it is not just the technology innovation altogether, right? But for a layman, he doesn't understand the power of technology which is in the backseat, right, or in the back end. Now, how simplistically you provide the user interface, right, the user experience, right, so that he can start using that as his friend, right, or as her friend, right? So that's where it goes to. So we always do a lot of innovation on the user experience also, along with the technology evolution. Right. So for example, right now some of the things which we launched, which is market buzz, was so just now when we started the conversation, you are telling that you are talking to her in Marathi, and can you relate it, etc.
Right.
So what we did was this is going to be a problem of language communication across the world.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Because everybody first prefers their regional language, then they switch to other languages. And English knowing English is good to communicate, but it doesn't mean that he has a great knowledge. Right? If you start speaking in English, doesn't mean that you have great knowledge in the domain, right?
Right.
It is just one of the way of communication.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And also, if you see from India angle, right, we want to become a Vishwaguru by 2047. That's our motivation. Right. So this means that we need to make sure that whatever the business is here, which we are doing in India, even it has to be expanded to outside. Right. So one of the thing which becomes burden for majority, not only in India, for the world, is the burden of communication.
Right.
How do we solve it? This is a very simple problem. Previously, we used to have human interpreters, who used to communicate. But for small business, they can't afford a human interpreter. So this one we took as a challenge to break this language barriers. We shipped a technology, right, which can understand human speech and does a translation, and it can do in the form of human reading, right, like a text to speech. So in the technology world, how we call it as ASR, speech recognition system, which converts into text. Then there is a translation block, which we takes the target source language, to which converts into a target language, from there to human speech. So right now it is integrated in our Galaxy mobiles. Okay, so if you are on a call, you can switch the language. Okay, so if you are speaking in Hindi, I'm talking in English. Okay, so we can communicate in the same, I mean, like you will hear in Hindi, I will be hearing in English, whatever, if you speak in Hindi also.
Okay. If both of the people are using Galaxy mobiles?
Yes.
Okay, great.
No, so it's not that. That's the tricky part, actually. Even if you are using non-Galaxy mobile, even a landline phone, still it works.
Okay.
That's the best part.
Okay.
So if it is a Samsung mobile, so there is like the technology, some portion of technology runs in your mobile, some portion of technology runs in my mobile. If you are a non-Samsung user, every part of the technology runs in mine. Okay. Both the source and both ends will run on mine.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of this technology when we shipped.
Okay.
So this is one aspect, and in the same way, like you travel to other countries and you are speaking, I mean, you went to some Germany, for example, and you want to interact with other persons just to ask address or food chains or where I can get some daily groceries, etc. So the similar technologies in a different app, it is loaded. It's called interpreter. So where you speak in your language, which you understand, right, and you show it to that person, and it will hear it for her or him, right, and that person speaks with that their own language, and it comes to you, right. So this is a not in a call environment, it is directly like a interpreter, right? Without a human interpreter, it's technology interpreter.
Right. So
there are a lot of AI elements which went into it. So this is one of my favorite because it's solving the language barrier problem.
That's great, because few months back I was in China, and in China, you must be aware, no one speaks English. There is very few people, couple of the people who knows English. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive. And we used to carry a mobile, scan the photo, read. So now I think with this app, it would be a little very easy to travel around the globe, I guess.
So the other thing, when you are saying that even if we are scanning a picture in a different language, we do that translation also.
Okay.
So you can understand in English. So it's deeply integrated in several of the applications. So to break this language barrier.
That's good, because in India also we have 27 plus languages. Actually, when we came from Pune to Bangalore, we saw that the first name is always in Kannada. The boards all are in Kannada. Yesterday I went to one mall. I went inside, did shopping, and then I asked, what is the name of this mall? Which I was knowing.
Sure.
But that's how
so these are the use cases we are targeting.
And in India also this will work well, because we are still not connected because of the language barrier itself.
Right. So in India, we are supporting currently Indian English, Hindi, and Gujarati.
3 languages.
But we maybe, you can expect that it will be increase to more language coverage in future.
And in foreign, every language is covered?
So we have 32 languages, including some Indian languages, like I said, across the world. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, what we would see in future now, the mobile has become a translator for you. So, how far it can go in future? So, what could the users can expect that can happen?
Yeah. So I think since this AI is evolving, majority of AI native devices will be upcoming. So you can see that there are more devices with different portfolios, right? So some people are already talking about in the world, right? Not in Samsung context, that they will have some kind of a ring where you can talk, right? And it will just respond back, right? Whatever information you want, right? Okay. So, and some people are talking about the pendant kind of thing, which has its own like mic, right? And it will understand what you are talking whole day, right? So, for example, if you are conversing here, it will understand that whom I met and what did we talk, and it will build a memory out of it. Knowledge graph is built, right? Next time, if I'm switching to some other context, it can remind me that what did we discuss, etc. So like that. So more often, AI devices will native AI devices will come in different forms, different product forms. Along with that, one of the thing which will hugely going to kickstart is about this robots.
Robots.
Right.
Okay.
So right now, majority of the interactions when we started, it's smartphone. It is more of touch nature. Now we are moving from that to a voice nature, right, where you can ask and speak like a friend. The barriers of this touch is going away, and more of voice, like a friend,
Right.
like assistant, right? That is coming. Now, since a human is a multimodal person by nature, right? We communicate not just with the voice, of course, the body language, gestures, and the tonality, how I'm speaking, my facial expressions, right? So, but the current devices is not in that form 100% understanding, right? It's going to evolve like that. So the future is the device which is listening and answering to you. It will have also the multimodal capabilities. So it will understand you in more deeper and respond to you in more deeper. Right. So that's how the technology is evolving. So majoritarily it will be more of a robo. Right. Because it will be equipped with a lot of sensors. Right. So that's my
Great.
thought.
So, when it comes to AI, as you mentioned about training or voice, we share a lot of data also. It becomes a little difficult for the people who are a little cautious about their own data to share such kind of information or use AI even for basic works where they are sharing some information. Basically, in engineering or R&D, specifically when we talk about in engineering domain R&D, they are very scared of sharing their ideas to AI because maybe that will be used to generate something new. Though that's the reason there is a limited use. So how do you say this limitation, or is it a real limitation? Because as per my understanding, AI will never give the data as it is back when someone is asking a question. It will be always in a transformed way. But I don't know what are its capabilities. So how do you see this actually, and what are the threats that innovators or the people who are using it should take as a precaution, or there is nothing to be feared of?
Yeah, so what happens in the backend is just before launching the product, you need a lot of data to train our models, right? So the data comes from several aspects, right? Some of the things we'll be using is synthetic data. Okay, so which means that this is not a real data from any of the human. Okay, it is a generated data based on the technology itself. So that is one nature of data. Second thing was we have a data creator team, so linguist teams. So they handcraft the data. based on our own experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the use case specific data which we will handcraft based on that teams, right? So that is the second thing. Third thing is in some cases we purchase a vendor based data. So this is off the shelf where I pay money, I'll get it. But they also will be going through a lot of process. It is not a the data which is
private,
which is not a private. It is submitted by the users
willingly
on their will.
Right?
So that is the nature. So this, when we take this data in the development cycle, and we check for a lot of ethical and biases in this kind of data, how it can influence in the actual field, right, when you are deploying your product. So there is a lot of set of guidelines to be followed, which data is good, which data is not good, and how do you ensure that it can be a clean data, right, for the product. So this is about the data which you use for products while you are building it. This is the first phase. Right, now the second phase is when you keep it for the deployment where the users are interacting. Right. So in the interaction, what happens is, one of the prime element which we take care is the PII, the personal identification, right? So for example, if you are using my product which I deployed, and I can't store any of your data at my premises. Okay. And second thing is, I cannot, based on this data, I can track back to the specific person. So it is completely anonymized. This is the second aspect of it. And the third aspect what we follow is most of the times in something like very of the personalization, you want to do some of the things, it will be done on the device itself. It is staying in your mobile itself. It is not going to the cloud unless until a need, a bits and pieces only will be shared to the cloud, just from the experience point of view. This is the stage 2 of it. So with this, what happens is you will get your own personalization aspects. For personalization, it needs to know you. Right. Otherwise, you can't do a personalization. However, at the same time, we are not taking out your data. You are getting experience, but without taking the data. So by balancing all these aspects, it's architected.
So it's safe.
It's always safe.
Because even if it is recognizing the person, but still the data is not been transferred to the real servers. That's what I can
That's true.
Because once we were using one device, actually, we bought like playing device. We got a voice device in the. We installed it, and we all talked to it. And later on, it started recognizing. It's hey, hi Suneet. Then if he was talking, hi Anil. It was
so that's actually, you feel emotionally connected. That kind of experience is important. But how do you architect the system, right? So that it won't be tracked back to you. Right. Recognition is different from tracking back to you. So when you are tracking back, that's the problem. Right. It can pinpoint who is that person, what account, where is his house address. That is a problem. That's the PII. That is not good. But recognizing you is good. That's the emotional touch the device is providing to you.
So I understand these all things are taken care by Samsung very well. But are the all competitors that are providing AI services that much trustworthy? In general, what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, I think majority of the competitors also does this, definitely. And also quickly, what I can say is, in that aspect, there are many government law which is getting applicable, right? If you want to launch this kind of product in a region specific, so for example, if it is Europe, right, you have to follow GDPR, right? So if it is India, it's a DPDP Act. So which is upcoming, right? So there is a regularities which are watching and taking care of this. There is a governance body. So majority, including Samsung and the competitors, will be following, I believe.
it's to be trustworthy then.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
a trustworthy.
Great. So, so this all about innovation. So after innovation, it comes intellectual property, actually patents and all those things, which we work in, and we have a lot of interest to know about how big companies like Samsung utilize these patents specifically as an asset, because what we have seen recently. People know about patents, they file a patent, but when it comes to real monetization as an asset, there is lot of gap, at least in our country, to be filled. So how does Samsung look into the patenting aspect, and how do they value it?
Yeah. So normally on a broad level, which I can share the information, it can be classified into three parts. The first part is more of deep tech nature patents, which will take time. Okay, it's not going to be very simple. And also in the same aspect, the standardization also comes into picture. Okay, so be it 5G, 6G standardization, anything on the protocol level, right? And also deep tech, right? This is one nature. The second nature is, as I was telling in my talk before, innovation happens at the intersection.
Right,
so which means in the system design, if 2 or 3 technologies coming together, how you are able to centrally make sure that it is patented by controlling different technologies. This is more on the system design patents, right? This can be achieved in less than 9 months, 8 months, because you are doing early prototypes before you launch a product. How do you protect that, right? And the third is more on the user experience patents. So this is on the very high level, right? So, but if you see all these three things, every the methods has its own depth, and also, as you know, right, since you are in the same field, how do you detect the infringement, right? In deep tech patents, infringement detection is much tougher. Right?
If you don't know what is inside,
you don't know what is inside, right? So it's
Right.
much more expensive if you want to file an infringement. I mean, just going through that complete process itself will take time, etc. System design patents, to some extent, we can gauge, but user experience is like just by visually seeing itself, you can gauge this, right? So, from our opinion, we invest in all these three things. And also, we believe that patent, especially in the method 2, the system design and user experience, will be much quicker. And we feel there our opinion is like unless until it is in execution, right? The project is in, our product is in execution, the patent will remain a documentation, right? It is not going to give a huge impact. Having said that, right, the top one, the first one, method 1 is the standardization and deep tech patents. So there you may not see an immediate impact, right? But you are preserving your IP, right? Tomorrow somebody sues you, you can protect yourself. Right? So there the standard of measurement actually changes. So we are very heavily into patents. Most of the time, Samsung research, especially Bangalore, we got a lot of awards from Karnataka government on this patents, the number of patents filed, and we are able to contribute to India ecosystem, etc.
Great. So, as I understand, so enforcement is not the strategy. The first is to protect your inventions, and if at all possible, then enforcement would be the second option. That's what I understand clearly.
Yeah, on a high level, yes.
Okay. Because once the company moves out of India, there are a lot of litigations happening, right? So they're still not in India. That's what we can say. Okay. Great. So, do you want to give any advice to the startups who are into AI or who want to be acquired by companies like Samsung or any other companies? What should they focus on to develop, and should they patent? So, what would be your advice for them?
Yeah, so a couple of advices, if you ask me. The first one is how clear is your product or the solution you are developing, right? The vision wise, how clear you are, clarity of the vision, and what is the user pain point you're solving. Just now we discussed about that language barrier, right? So like that, what is that USP?
Right.
How clear? Right. Is it relevant to this context, or it's too futuristic, or it's too outdated?
Okay.
That is also matter, right?
Correct,
Context
correct,
matters.
correct,
Right?
correct.
Second thing is, again, we spoke, right? Idea is just an idea in a PPT. Right?
True.
The speed of execution is very, very important. How effectively you can realize the idea to a prototype, maybe,
Right.
and showcase the value of it. Right? This is how seeing is believing.
Right.
Third one, most important, and it's more close to my heart, is how do you invest in your people.
Okay.
Building a microculture, right? They have this joint ownership of the vision, execution, and seamlessly they should be motivated enough to carry this idea forward. This is the third thing. So when you have these three pillars very strongly, right? So you are in the game. Right? You can influence the idea to any of the global companies, and they are ready to invest in this kind of ideas, right? And patent has its value. So if you are while you are putting all the efforts on these three pillars, right? The horizontally you have to protect your IP, like we discussed, right? That's very, very important. It gives another cushioning that, oh yeah, so it is not a obvious thing which can be patented, or sorry, which can be replicated by others. There is a patent underlying, and it has its own value.
So this will be a great advice for the entrepreneurs who are working in AI and who wants to collaborate with companies, big companies like Samsung. So thank you for that. I would like to know about your own suggestions to the general audience who are either working in the big companies or who aspire to be working and rising like you have done. So what was your success mantra that has brought you here till date?
Okay. So one thing which we already discussed about, that curiosity, learning, and speed of execution and collaboration, all these things we covered. One thing I want to share here as a secret sauce is, to be frank, I never chased a title.
Okay.
I never chased any titles in my life, right?
Okay.
So I always chase the impact, how I'm going to create. And year on year, how you will expand the impact. Once you create that impact, that will chase your career growth, that will chase your titles. You don't need to do it. So that's the advice I want to share.
That's really brilliant thing that you have shared actually, and which is very difficult to follow as well.
Yeah.
So I hope this will change your perspective about the growth, your personal growth, professional growth, and very easily said but very hard to implement, I guess. So I thank you for coming on this podcast and sharing your valuable inputs on AI, on success, on leadership. We really enjoyed, and I hope all the public who is watching this podcast will learn a lot of things, and maybe they will reach out to you as well. So thank you for explaining.
Thanks for having me. I hope our sessions inspired you, and you'll be taking the next initiatives to make our India Vishwaguru in 2047.
We all should work for that, I guess. And this is a small contribution to share the experiences from big people like Mr. Praveen, and so that will create or accelerate this impact, I can say. Thank you very much. Thank you. And this video is sponsored by Brainiac IP Solutions, which is an intellectual property firm expert in building intellectual property strategies for MSMEs, startups, MNCs, and academics. So thank you for watching this podcast. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also spread the knowledge that you are getting with the relevant fraternities. Also, if you want to learn something, or if you want me to invite any expert, just write in the comment box. I will try my level best to invite those experts on this podcast also. Keep investing, keep inventing, and keep earning tremendously. Thank you very much.